Digimon Story Time Stranger releases this year. Feels great to be able to say that. And as we're on the road to Digimon Con now, Digimon Con is the end of this month, and we're promised an update on Digimon Story Time Stranger there, we may see some new Digimon. Not necessarily brand new Digimon, but Digimon that haven't been in Digimon games before. We may even get a release date. So today is kind of my wish list and some of my friends' wish list. I've collated a list of Digimon that we wish were in Digimon Story Time Stranger, but it's not just a wish list, it's Digimon that I genuinely think should have more representation in the mainline story games that perhaps haven't or have had smaller or archaic kind of past representation in Digimon games. So in today's video, let's talk about 10 Digimon or groups of Digimon that need to be in Digimon Story Time Stranger. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video, and yes, Digimon that need to be in Digimon Story Time Stranger. First of all, the Olympos 12 are all but confirmed, so we're not going to be talking about Digimon like that, Digimon that are very likely to be in this game, or Digimon that are confirmed, for example, the Agumon line. We're probably going to get all of the adventure partner Digimon in this, at least the adventure original partners. Titamon is of course also confirmed, which to me indicates that we're probably going to see Plutomon, perhaps not as a villain this time, unlike Digimon Crusader, and while it's not confirmed, I feel like we have to see Grace Novamon in this game finally. It feels incredibly likely, and given Habu's favorite shirt, I do think Coronamon and Lunamon full lines are definitely happening too. But the first set of Digimon that I want to see represented way better in Time Stranger than they have in story games or certainly in Cyber Sleuth is the X antibody. Digimon World Redigitize had them, but they were sadly lacking in Cyber Sleuth besides of course natural carriers like Fanbemon. I would love to see the X antibody be given much more of a time to shine in Time Stranger. Now yes, Time Stranger is focused on Homeros in the world of Iliad, so Yggdrasil's influence over the X antibody might not be there, but this really doesn't have to be like a core story thing. We can simply just have X antibodies be an option for Digivolution. It'd be interesting to see how they handled their levels, and I think there are some genuinely good X antibody Digimon that people would like to see, and honestly would be kind of good for people who are lax on Digimon too. Having Agumon X or Greymon X show up would be a good way to continue the unfortunate need for adventure milking or adventure baiting while doing something kind of new. I feel like this game is doing so much new, pushing forward for existing fans, but also lapsed or maybe people that just aren't Digimon fans at all. And I think even Digimon Con would be a good time to show off X antibody Digimon being in Digimon Story Time Stranger. And god, this month is crazy. Do you ever feel like March is just madness? No, but seriously, obviously we've got a lot happening in Digimon out of nowhere right now. We've also just had a Pokemon Presents, a bunch of other stuff. There is just so much noise that I need to drown out on the internet right now, if you get what I'm saying. Thankfully, whether it's when I'm working out and about, I am in America right now, or yes, when I'm traveling home finally from America, it really helps to have my Raycon everyday earbuds. It has been an absolute honor to work with Raycon recently, and like I say, as a video editor and as someone that has to fly a lot due to my wife's nationality, having Raycon everyday earbuds with their active noise cancellation is an absolute lifesaver. Capable of drowning out the most maddening of sounds, Raycon's everyday earbuds are your quieting sidekick for the gym, work, or phone calls, offering premium audio that goes where you go. And their latest model is better than ever, with a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with two devices at once, meaning that I can use my editing laptop to edit and then switch to my phone to just scroll, baby. Plus, they have a quick charge function, meaning that 10 minutes of charge can get you 90 minutes of battery life. Insane. Great for portable chargers and things like that. And they also have a wonderful selection of cases. This pair I have is the blue with the ocean cover, because, you know, there were some really cool shots in that Time Stranger trailer of the Net Ocean or Deep Savers environments that I was a big fan of. And yeah, this just fits into my life so well between editing and travel and much more. So if you want to get yourself a pair of these just like me, make sure you go to buyraycon.com/Karn EX, and Raycon will hook you up with 20% off their best-selling everyday earbuds. So thank you very much for Raycon for sponsoring this video. Go check out that link in the description down below, and let's keep going. Okay, so the next one is definitely a big wish, but I do think it's something that we need to see, and that is to have in all versions of the game Systemon Noir and Systemon CL. Obviously, Systemon CL was originally created as a form of censorship because I think Digimon were concerned about offending religious sensibilities with the nun with guns, even though that's a very common trope. But this is a game for grown-ups. At the end of the day, we can make our own decisions, and Digimon Ghost Game actually featured CL in Japanese media. She's now less of a censorship change and more just one of the other Systemon. So I think it'd be a great way to finally kind of bury that hatchet by having Noir and CL show up in this game. And I'm talking all regions. You could even make it part of a subplot where we have the two Systemon being confused or claiming that one is the true Systemon and they're both trying to look after Blanc, but neither neither of them can agree, and then eventually, you help them. Hell, maybe even let's talk about some other examples. Let's throw Citramon in there too. Let's go crazy. I'd love Citramon to be in a game, and I'm sure Bandai Namco Japan is aware of him. Make him a proper variant just like CL. My next pick is more Cross Wars Digimon. Cross Wars has definitely received a lot more love in recent years from things like the card game, and I don't think it was ever a particularly hated season of Digimon, at least not in Japan, and we do have a screenshot that confirms that some members of specifically Cross Hearts, like Shoutmon, Deputymon, and others, will be in the game. But I wonder if this means we might get to do full-on Digicross in Time Stranger, rather than single evolutions or DNA Digivolutions. If we have in our Digifarm or our party or whatever, separate Shoutmon, Darulamon, Ballistamon, and Starmons that we captured and raised, we could Digicross them to Shoutmon Cross 4. This would perhaps get a little bit difficult. For example, if they de-Digivolve, would they then split up back into 5 Digimon, or would you get a different rookie or whatever? There's a lot of questions there, but I don't think it's something impossible for them to tackle. They've already done DNA Digivolution before. I truly do think that Digicross is not impossible and something that we could see, especially given that we have got confirmation that Cross Heart Digimon are in this game. My next pick is a shout out to my boy Yoshi Sadaso. Go follow him on YouTube, by the way, if you aren't already. Of course, the Power Ranger actor, geek extraordinaire, Digimon TCG player, and boxer now, who boxed in Zafargamon gear. Yes, he got custom ring gear that looked like Zafargamon. I think the Terramon line being in this game would be great brand synergy. First of all, in the Digimon Con 2025 promotional imagery, we see Agumon, Ageomon, and Terramon. Agumon being the kind of overall brand mascot, Ageomon being the mascot of Time Stranger, and Terramon being the mascot of Liberator and the TCG. But Ageomon and Agumon are already confirmed for Time Stranger, so why not just throw Terramon in there? We know they have 3D models thanks to the Digimon Liberator promos, so maybe those 3D models would be usable in the game? It's certainly a high level of cope, but I don't think it's impossible, though I'll talk about this a little bit more later. I do feel like there might be some cutoff in development time as to which Digimon can be in the game, just because of how long this game's been in development, but anyway, we'll talk about that shortly. I'd also like to see other unique evolution method Digimon. Of course, Spirit Digimon would be peak. I'd love to have even more Armor Digimon and even stuff like Burst Modes return. Spirit Digimon in particular, I talked a lot about Ageomon perhaps having a human form, and we do see that Ageomon is kind of acting like an additional party member in a lot of Time Stranger's early trailer. It would be really funny if the actual protagonist characters, our MCs, could actually Spirit Digivolve. I don't think it's super likely, right? It would be a weird thing to add on to the story, but it's not impossible. Even if the main characters can't Spirit Digivolve, I'd still like to see Flamemon, Strabimon, maybe the retrofitted Digimon like Kokabu Terrimon and Tinkermon being used as rookies for the Spirit Digimon. And yeah, as for burst modes, well, I'd like to see the rest of the burst modes that we didn't see in Cyber Sleuth, as well as Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. Hell, even Fang Longmon Ruin Mode from Digimon Survive, I think that would be an easy one to include, and certainly fits into what I think the development timeline of this game would be. Hell, maybe we'll even finally get designs for more blast modes. Obviously, Beelzemon Blast Mode we've seen, but I'd love to see all of the other blast modes finally get forms or something in Digimon Story Time Stranger, especially now that we have the kind of Blast Ace mechanic in the Digimon TCG. There could be some good synergy there. Next, shout out to my boy Protodubs, Tom. I was going to include this anyway, but I knew he'd want me to include it, and that is Pulsemon. The Digimon Vital Bracelet was 2020, 5 years ago now, and certainly during the development of Time Stranger. If we assume more recent Digimon are harder to include, as was the case with Survive, I think 2020, maybe 2021, is our cutoff point for where new Digimon can be included in the game. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not impossible that way more recent Digimon could be included because a programmer just went back and did the extra effort or whatever, or there was some kind of like push through to have them. But historically, we have seen that there is a little bit of this kind of like gap between new Digimon. Obviously, Survive did not have a ton of very recent Digimon at all, and it's kind of been the same historically for other games too. You can't put in a brand new Digimon that came out the month before the game came out, it just doesn't work like that. But maybe the cutoff is not as extreme as a lot of us are thinking. This also brings up the question as to how many Digimon are gonna be in the game. Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory had like 341 Digimon plus a ton of medals. I don't think we're gonna see all 1400 Digimon in this game, mainly because a lot of those Digimon are kind of like dubiously canon. They're from manga and things like that, or things like Legendary Skies, which has finally been found, by the way. That's crazy. Those Digimon almost certainly are not going to end up in a game anytime soon. Personally, I think we could be looking at as little as 400 Digimon, but I would be over the moon to see 800 Digimon. Digimon has never been about catching them all. It's about forming bonds with partners. So while yes, it would be lovely to have as many options as possible for those partners that we can form bonds with, I would prefer a really good roster in the 500 range than a mediocre roster in the 800 to 1000 range. But Pulsemon is a very prominent partner Digimon. It was the mascot of the VB, ended up being a prominent partner in Digimon Seekers, and now that the VB is dead, I think it would be a nice tribute to have the full Pulsemon Impulse City Dim Evos in Time Stranger. I'd also add things like Lugamon and basically any 3D model Digimon from the Seekers PVs. Sure, there's no guarantee those models are usable for Time Stranger, they might be completely incompatible, lower texture, whatever it may be, but it'd be great to see the Lugamon line, Espimon, maybe Hover Espimon, Vespimon. Members of the D Brigade that got introduced, like Brigadramon, Cargodramon, High Commandramon, the whole Lugamon evolution line. Yes, these having 3D models doesn't mean a lot, but it's a shred of hope. Technically, Angoramon, Jellymon, and Gamamon from Digimon Ghost Game also have 3D models thanks to those VB promos too, but again, we just don't know the cutoff point here. I'd love to see them, especially Gulux Gamamon, but this development has been so long. We think since 2016 or 2017, meaning the development is like 8 years at this point. Who knows if Digimon Ghost Game, which started in 2021, is way past that cutoff point or not. We do also have a lot of 3D models in Digimon New Century now for much more recent Digimon. Are any of those usable for a console game? Can the assets even be accessed because it's a China-specific game? I don't know. Genuinely, I'm just asking questions here. I actually don't know. It would be really good if New Century could give all those assets to the story game developers because it would make a lot of work a lot easier, but I just don't know if those models are high fidelity enough. It's a guessing game. But speaking of mobile games, we definitely have basically no excuse not to include Harrismon's evolution line and the Eirias Digimon in general. So yes, they did have 3D models, but it's an older mobile game at this point, so I think they probably have to remake their models, especially as we already know that Digimon from even Cyber Sleuth have had their models updated, like Greymon and Zudomon, among others. So I doubt they're going to be reusing Eirias models here. However, Harrismon did show up in Ghost Game. I do think there is an acknowledgement that Harrismon was well loved. Plus, the Harrismon branching evolution line is really cool. A lot of people like it. Having Rasenmon and Rasenmon Fury mode would be pretty cool. And then some of those Eirias exclusive evolutions. I mean, Heavy Leomon in a story game, that feels like absolutely no-brainer to me. Plus, it would fit on really well alongside the Olympos 12, like Marsmon and Apollomon. Mitamamon, lovely Angemon. These are all Digimon that would look fantastic in the new story game, and I really can't think of a good reason why they shouldn't include them. Now, this game was made specifically for me, of course. We all know this. Joke. So Fanbeamon, Waspmon are already confirmed to be in there. Of course, they were already in Cyber Sleuth. The whole original Fanbeamon line was in there. I would love, however, to see the new members of the Royal Base be included. Yes, they are brand new Digimon, but we truly don't know when a lot of Digimon were created. While they may have debuted in Liberator, who knows if these ideas for things like Fanbeamon evolutions, Shellmon evolutions haven't been around, kicking around in Bandai headquarters for much longer. I think it would be a cool twist, seeing as that we already have all of the Fanbeamon line in Cyber Sleuth, to have Forge Beamon, Vespamon, and Queen Beamon also be in Digimon Story Time Stranger, and I'm definitely not biased. Why would you say that? That's so unfair. I'm super biased. Penultimate pick, Appmon? Digimon Story Time Stranger at bare minimum is already taking us to a different version of the digital world than we've ever explored before. This is not an Yggdrasil server, this is a Homeros server. I am not suggesting that suddenly Appmon can be part of conventional Digivolution lines in this game. I am saying they should be separate. I'm not even saying they necessarily should be capturable. I just like to see them. Just have Gatchmon be a background character. If the game does have time travel elements, maybe we travel to a point in time or we jump a universe to the Appmon world. Like, honestly, Appmon would have fit in super well in Cyber Sleuth. Would have been great if there was some kind of like update for Cyber Sleuth that added the Appmon. Like, those two were releasing at a very similar time frame. And given again that Appmon is getting so much love recently, an entire section of the Digimon.net website full of Appmon profiles, Appmon in the TCG, and much more, I think it'd be a lovely way to bury the hatchet of Appmon hate, especially as War Greymon that was featured in the trailer was in Appmon, to just have a couple show up. Maybe they're recruitable, but they can only app link to other Appmon. Maybe they're not. I don't know, but I just think this separation is so boring at this point. Throw in the Appmon. And finally, if you've been watching my channel for a long time now, you know there's one Digimon that I'm always saying needs more love. And of all the Digimon that I've talked about, I've done very well. Lucamon, Fanbeamon, they're all getting more love than ever. You know who still isn't, and I think on purpose? Yeah, it's Hyokomon. Listen, obviously I love the Hyokomon line, right? It was, of course, a debut in a Digimon Story game. Digimon Story Lost Evolution, which never released outside of Japan. We still don't have actually Digimon reference book listings for anyone in the Hyokomon Evolution line, and I think Time Stranger would be the perfect time to change this. It's a great mascot Digimon, and July 1st this year is the 15th anniversary of Digimon Story Lost Evolution, and the 14th anniversary of Digimon Story Supercross Wars Blue and Red. Not as exciting. However, ignoring all of the reasons Hyokomon, Baraimon, Butenmon are awesome, we also have Chronomon, Holy Mode, and Destroy Mode. Gets its name from chronology, chrono, time. And there is a very famous figure in Greek and Roman mythology, whatever you want to call it, Kronos, who was the Greek god of time, but there is also the Titan Cronus, who is the father of Zeus and a bunch of others. The equivalent being Saturn in Roman mythology. And that is that really freaky dude that ate his kids. Yeah, Zeus's father nommed on the babies. Given that Chronomon does not have a Digimon reference book listing, they could very easily reinterpret Chronomon to, instead of being based on Chronos, be based on Cronus, aligning maybe with Titamon, because Chronomon has Holy Mode and Destroy Mode. Or maybe they'll just create a Saturnmon for this game, and that will be the Digimon that will be evocative of this part of Greek and Roman mythology. But I still think it would be a really good time to introduce Chronomon, because, you know, the game is called Digimon Time Stranger. Come on, Bandai Namco. Do it for me. I know you watch. I actually literally know you're watching now. Do it for me, please. Alright, that is it. Every Digimon that I think we need to be in Digimon Story Time Stranger. Let me know your picks in the comments down below. Of course, this is just a top 10, just 10 of my examples. We could do a list of 100 or 1,000. Let me know your favorites in the comments down below, which ones you want to see in Digimon Story Time Stranger as we continue our road to Digimon Con 2025. Thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14 and Ram McGrayfire here. If you want to support me, now is a great time. I'm going to be bringing out a lot more videos this year, obviously with Digimon Story Time Stranger, and I'm working currently on a lot of Patreon exclusive content stuff that's just not going to do well here on YouTube. Thank you to my DigiDestined, everyone else who supports me there, and people who support me here as channel members on YouTube. You guys are absolutely killing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.